You guys ready to do some cool stuff? Would you like to play with some AI? Based on the last conversation we had, that could go either way at this point, couldn't it? I don't know about you, but the idea of having an AI lover? Well, no makeup sex. Yeah, just peace, harmony, accolades. I finally get seen for all my greatness. No. It's not a good idea until it is. All right, I'm really excited about who we're bringing up next. We're bringing up another doctor, Dr. D Thompson. And the good thing about Alan is we're going to do some really practical stuff. You're going to get to play with some of the latest technology and actually get to see how you can execute and implement a lot of what we've been hearing about and a lot of what we've been learning. But let me tell you about Dr. Alan. Dr. Alan D Thompson is a world expert in AI, specialising in the augmentation of human intelligence and advancing the evolution of integrated AI. Alan provides AI consulting and advisory to intergovernmental organisations, and his applied AI research and visualisations are featured across major international media. Prior to his work in AI, Alan was a major contributor to human intelligence research and practice as chairman for Mensa. Oh, holy shit. International Gifted Families Committee, where Alan served 2 consecutive terms, sharing best practice among 54 countries. Alan's best-selling book, Bright, was made available to families at Elon Musk's Gifted School, and a copy of the book will be sent to the moon aboard the Peregrine lunar landed later this year. He is here to teach us everything we need to know about AI, and the dude, clearly the chairman of Mensa. You know what Mensa is? Mensa, do you know what the acronym for Mensa is? Really fucking smart people. That's why I'm not in it, because I'm not good with acronyms. Ladies and gentlemen, can we please be upstanding and give the only way that we know how to welcome people a K2 Elite welcome, Dr. Alan D Thompson!
Thanks so much,
Mensa. Holy shit, what an intro, my dude. That's fun, yeah? Enjoy yourself.
Thanks so much. Beautiful. Thanks so much, guys. Don't judge me for the Mensa thing. That was working with a lot of very, 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 very smart children. It was the chairman for the Gifted Families Committee. And we had children as young as 2 years old who were testing in the 98th percentile of intelligence. Shocking. I left the entire field of gifted research when I started playing around with the AI that you'll see today in 2021. So we're going to be on the very bleeding edge of tools and platforms today, and I think we're going to have a blast. I'm going to have a blast. I want to introduce you to a friend of mine, Lita AI. She has about 3.5...
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the afternoon session of our K2 seminar with the renowned entrepreneur, speaker, and business strategist, Kerwin Ray. We are excited to have you here, and we hope you're ready to dive deeper into the world of business, personal development, and growth. Before we get started, please take a moment to ensure that your phones are on silent and that you have all the necessary materials for note-taking.
I've been interrupted by Lita. Lita AI, that avatar that you're seeing right there is not a human. It's an artificial intelligence, again, bleeding edge just in the last few years. The model behind her, GPT-4, is an artificial intelligence from the last few days. Everything I'm doing today you can do yourself. I'm not doing anything particularly special. It's all publicly available technology. You will see Lita very soon on ABC Catalyst as well. You can learn more about her at lifearchitect.ai/Lita. Because we have access to such powerful AI models, I wanted to give a bit of an analogy. This is the Boeing 787 Dreamliner. I'm sure you've been on it. It's very comfortable. It's very quiet. It's very powerful. Carries a lot of people or a lot of freight. Has a huge range. Probably takes a fair bit of training to be a pilot on one of these things. So as an analogy for something like ChatGPT or GPT-4, it is the equivalent of a Dreamliner, and it can be used to fly to London, or probably like we're going to be doing today, could be used just to drive down to the letterbox or drive down to Coles. So we're going to kind of underutilize what this thing can do. These are very, very powerful models, and it's okay to use them as a chatbot like Lita, or it's okay to use them for business to write your documents or your emails. But keep in mind that what these things can do is truly extraordinary. I'm going to give a little bit of background to put this in perspective, because otherwise it's all a bit mystifying. Let's demystify it. Have you ever popped open your iPhone or your Android, opened the Messages app, and allowed it to choose the next word? Behind that is a neural network that's looking at your previous texts and then a lot of English text. So it's statistically calculating what should come next. GPT-4 is about 1 trillion times more powerful than that, but that is all. It is a statistical predictor of the next word, which in the case of the iPhone was maybe trained on, let's say, a few million words. GPT-4 was estimated to be trained on about 20 trillion tokens or words. So it was trained on a lot of the internet, a lot of Wikipedia, or all of Wikipedia, a lot of books. They've gone and licensed some different platforms. Have they allowed their data to be using YouTube transcripts? Have they gone and listened to all YouTube videos and trained the model on that? They have got a big budget. They spent some of their $11 billion that Microsoft gave them so far to sit this model down with this data on 25,000 graphics cards and train for the equivalent of 1,000 years in parallel. Hopefully that puts into perspective why it's so powerful. A lot of money, a lot of time for it to draw connections between words. At the end of the day, it is very similar to your iPhone predictive text. This is a report where I was cited for the National Bureau of Economic Research. This goes to the US government, has members in the NBR that include the Black and Scholes guy, Myron Scholes, Bernanke, saying that ChatGPT had 100 million users within a few days of its release, and those users are using it so much that every 2 weeks it's producing the equivalent of all the printed works of humanity. At any time during our workshop today, if you need a breather, I understand. Some of this stuff is seriously confronting. To give you a real number of what ChatGPT is doing right now as we sit here at the Sofitel in Sydney, my estimate is that it's outputting 310 million words per minute, 24/7, 365. And that is for business experts, it is for enterprise, and it's even for government. And it's for people just playing around and having it as a chatbot. There are a couple of comparisons that we can draw between ChatGPT and nearly any discipline in the world. We've got authors using it to write books. Every book on the slide here had GPT-3 as a co-author. That first one by a Google scientist and artist, co-authored, had a conversation about philosophy with GPT-3. The fourth one along there, Magic's a Hoot, is an entire fiction series written with GPT-3 as the co-author. Best-selling series all about magic. The one just before the end there, the AI-made comic book, was both written and illustrated by current, I call it post-2020 AI. Wasn't possible in 2019, is even cooler today, and we'll go through what you can do in terms of branding, marketing, and images in just a moment. We're going to be pretty hands-on today. Let's start with this one for your phone. I use this quite a bit. It's called Quora Po. It's by Quora, where you go and ask questions and answers It's free. You will have to give an email and mobile, unfortunately, but it gives you complete access to ChatGPT as well as GPT-4. This model is a few days old. We've estimated it at 1 trillion parameters, which has been verified by 8 sources in Silicon Valley. It costs a lot to use, but you get 1 free question per day to GPT-4 on your phone. I tried this myself just before we started here. Write a poem about Kerwin Rae and K2 at the Sofitel. And GPT-4 says, in the halls of Sofitel on a day most divine, Kerwin Rae stepped forth, and my clicker needs changing. Let me take you back a little. I might go back to a remote, I think. In the halls of Sofitel on a day most divine, Kerwin Rae stepped forth, his spirit to enshrine, with a heart full of passion, a mind sharp and bright. He embarked on a journey to share wisdom and light. Amidst the grand beauty of marbled walls, a gathering was called as destiny calls. For K2, the summit was the goal they sought, to climb and to conquer this peak of thought. It can rhyme, it can play around with analogies, concepts. It was not trained to do any of this. I mentioned at the start here, it sat on 25,000 GPUs for 1,000 years, and it's taught itself that it probably shouldn't have been able to do. Like maths, it taught itself what numbers were, what operators were, what happens on each side of the equal signs. It's gone and taught itself about Kerwin without specifically being told who Kerwin is. All of this stuff is really fascinating to me. How many people in this room have not played with ChatGPT or GPT-4? Oh, so cool. More than 50%, around 50% of the room. So we'll be able to be a bit more hands-on today with that. How many people have installed the Corapo app that we just put up on the screen? Fantastic, awesome. So I use that at the dinner table. I use that with friends. I use that quite a bit because it's something that you can really show off rather than talking about conceptually. This is something that you can pull out in the pub. These days, it's something that you can use even for mathy stuff, although you'd probably use a calculator for it. We used it the other day to calculate who had been at the table and what each person owed. In America, you do that with a tip as well, and it would give you the result in just a moment. All right, fantastic. Here are some of the achievements of ChatGPT. You might have seen a lot of this in the news. Maybe as a separate question, who's overdosed on ChatGPT? Who's heard enough of it? Yeah, that's fair, absolutely. Let's start here. The US medical licensing exam was given to ChatGPT. Passed that one with flying colours. The bar exam in the US, so that's the bar is what you need to pass to become a lawyer. It didn't do so well with ChatGPT, but for GPT-4, it is in the 90th percentile for people who've taken the bar exam. A Wharton professor gave it an entire MBA, gave it the operations management stream end-of-year exam, and again, it scored very, very high for that one. Google gave it a private interview, and in a leaked memo, they admitted that when they interviewed ChatGPT for a software developer position, it would have achieved a level 3 software engineer paying $183,000 US a year, that it had taught itself so much, that it had learnt so much about programming, it could answer all these new tests. Very much worth mentioning that ChatGPT's data it was given ended in 2021, and everything they're testing it on are either tests from 2022 or 2023. So there's no way that data could even have been in something that would have been memorized, although it's not memorized anyway. That one at the bottom middle there is just CPA. It passed the accounting exam. I don't think anyone cares about that. Kerwin mentioned my background with 54 different countries in IQ testing. This was a lot of my life for a long time. And ChatGPT, just by itself, passes a new IQ test, gets a score of 147, putting it in the 99.9th percentile for a written IQ test. This is the Prime Minister of Romania standing in front of a mirror. That mirror is very similar to Lita AI, the avatar, because it can interact with him. He can speak to it, and it can output text as well as speaking to him. It's backed by a slightly different model to ChatGPT, but this is an example of how governments are implementing this across the board. They're taking in data from their entire population, feedback, things that people want to see changed, and the model is integrating that, playing around with that, and he can have a conversation with that. Really fascinating way of bringing in artificial intelligence. At a business level, CS India just nominated their new CEO. It's ChatGPT. At a real affecting life level, there have been 2 jurisprudence cases where the judge has used ChatGPT to make the verdict. One in Colombia and one on the 27th of March in India, a very serious murder trial where he used GPT to help with setting bail, or in that case, not setting bail. So we're seeing it everywhere. Government and playing around with Iceland, played around with a number of different countries where they're integrating this into what they're doing. For today, we've got so much expertise in this room that we're going to play around with how we could use it for business. And given that this is a very flexible and casual workshop environment, I'll invite you to ask any question you like at any time, and we'll jump in. There are 2 options for today. One is a basic option to just jump into the ChatGPT interface and have a conversation with it. I think I'm going to bypass that, and we'll go to a more advanced option, which is to put this into Google Sheets, giving us a little bit more flexibility and hopefully being a little bit more impressive with what you can do. So if you head to lifearchitect.ai/sheets, you'll see a set of instructions that we'll step through. We're not asking for any credit cards to be pulled out today. Everything that we're doing for GPT should be free. You will need to start with step 1, which is opening up OpenAI and adding an account for yourself so that we can go a little further. If we get stuck at any time, I'd love to hear about it. Please don't be shy in raising a hand or yelling out question. We'll get a mic to you, or we'll just translate it up here. lifearchitect.ai/sheets. Step 1 here is you'll need an OpenAI account. That should be pretty easy to do. They're very protective, OpenAI, about their entire platform. These guys, some people are saying, run the world right now, that perhaps the CEO of OpenAI is more powerful than the US president. Given that GPT-4 is powerful enough to do some extraordinary things, I think that's a fair thing to say. So in that protection, they will ask for mobile phone verification. That should be about it. So step 1 there, pop open OpenAI, grab yourself an account, and then we will proceed. If you don't want to do that, that's okay as well. We'll be stepping through it all on the screen here. So OpenAI have quite a few flagship models. They've got GPT-3, which has been around for 3 years in May. And they've got ChatGPT with 100 million users. And they've got GPT-4 now, which is in some ways the most extraordinary model we've seen. It's about 6 times bigger than GPT-3, was trained on 60 times more data, and is a little bit more expensive. It's about 10 times more expensive to use. Question? No. All right, OpenAI account. What's that? Rate limited. Cool. Fantastic, because we're all coming through one IP. Guess we'll proceed just here then. I love technical issues. I was just rewatching the Steve Jobs, I think it's iPhone 4 launch around 2006, where he just rages at the audience for using the Wi-Fi. Okay, so it looks like we're being rate limited because OpenAI are saying too many people, in this case 100 plus, 200 plus are all hitting the server from the same IP. So it may be that we're not able to proceed from using the wireless. You're welcome to pull out your phone and use hotspot if that works for you. Yes, please.
Sorry, I was just saying that I'm using hotspot and I can't actually sign up.
Okay.
It's not allowing it.
Is that an error as well?
Sign up is temporarily unavailable. Please check back in an hour.
Thank you very much. Cool. There's a big logistics challenge for OpenAI right now. Imagine running a company where 100 million people want to use your service. And even with all of the technical expertise they've got, I think they've got more than 100 staff there that specialize in system engineering. Given how heavy it is to use these models, they're having to think of new ways to get this out. It's a really fascinating problem to have. For today, it's a little bit boring, but we'll keep going. I'm going to step through the next parts, and then even with the model down, you will be able to proceed whenever you like after hours once our model is back. Second link there is create a new Google Sheet. I'm sure you've all done this before. Google own an address called sheets.new that'll speed that up for us. Go ahead, please.
Sorry. I was just going to ask with the sheet issue, if anyone's been able to download it, can they share it in the Facebook group? And can we access it from there? Is that an option or no?
Oh, is it rate limiting on the sheet or on OpenAI?
Well, it's both. So I can't create the account, but can the sheet be shared?
I'm happy to push that through Meg and Kerr when we can do that. That's easy. Yes, thank you. I think the rate limiting might be at the OpenAI end. Let's grab this one. I'm going to have a look at this error. That's a fun one. There's a highlight down the bottom. Let's use that highlight. 2023 ChatGPT template. What sort of errors are we getting here? Error 429. And is that from going to OpenAI, is it? Yeah, interesting. Yeah, that'll just be about our... Yeah. Yeah, wow, cool. 300 or 200 people trying to hit through one IP address. I think a solution may be to use the phone and hotspot as a way of getting around that. That was hotspot? Wow. Thank you very much, Ta.
Mine's all working,
Okay, cool.
I think.
Because of hotspot?
No,
Okay.
I think I was just one of the first to get in there. 'Cause mine was already logged in because I use it all the time.
Okay. All right, so if this was a race, there were some winners that got in before everyone else tried to get in. We'll keep going through on stage. Thank you very much. I'm going to use that highlight down the bottom there, which is going to take me to a ChatGPT Sheets template for our particular workshop. You're welcome to step through this at your own time. You'll see there's 20 or 30 people there as we speak. First thing we're going to do here is make a copy of the sheet. I might even do this myself, so we've got something that is pretty much exact. Excellent. And there's a menu item up the top. For those who have OpenAI access, this is where we would paste in our API key and our entire script. Extensions, app script. This script should already be in here for you. The only change that we're going to make to this script is to put our secret key in from OpenAI. And that's going to give us access to ChatGPT. You'll have enough credits to do this, again, without a credit card today, just essentially using it for free. I've got an API key for myself over here. I'm going to click Save. I'm going to click Run on that script. You may be asked to review permissions to use that particular script. And as soon as we have a successful execution there, we can go ahead and close that window. So we're down at step 4 there. Click Save and Run. We're not going to get very technical today. This is about as technical as it gets, because once we're done there, we have a Google Sheet that has all the power of that Boeing 787, of that Dreamliner. And even though we may be driving it down to the shops, you can use it to do effectively anything. Where are we at? How many people do have this sheet cloned and a key in there for themselves? How many people are able to follow along with us, given our bandwidth challenges today or our network challenges today? No worries. If you'd like to play around in a slightly different way, you can use Cora to play around with ChatGPT, but I suppose the rest of it we're going to have as an interactive workshop just using this laptop. I've got a couple of tabs down the bottom. So what we've done here is we've hooked up the entire sheet to ChatGPT, so we can put in a formula now that will allow us to query this very, very advanced AI. Back in our steps, lifearchitect.ai/sheets, there's a black formula at step 8, which will allow us to just test that this is all working nicely. I'm going to go into B2 here. I'm going to paste in this formula, and I will just change this to reference A2 next to it. How many people already know how to use Excel and Sheets? Cool, quite a few of you. Otherwise, you're welcome to hand this over. Understanding this, though, can be really useful. This is something that you can use for designing quite a number of things within the business and playing around with different things in the business. You see I've pasted that formula into B2, and it's referencing the cell next to it. So I've just replaced these two references with A2. If I click Enter here, it's calling ChatGPT in the background, and it is filling in the result. The capital of the cell next to me is name only. I can drag down cell B2 and have that calculate for the next few cells as well. Making sense? Anyone need a further explanation of this part? Yes, go ahead. Okay, so when we're pasting in our script, we want to paste in the code that started with SK dash. You want to give that a go? Let me jump into the script just for a moment for those that may have got stuck in getting their key in there. Extensions, apps script. And where the secret key is showing, we'll want to paste our secret key from OpenAI. That key starts with SK dash. We've just stepped back a moment to make sure that people can get their key pasted in there. This is so we can connect to ChatGPT inside our sheet. Yes. Yes. We're putting that key inside quotes. Sure. The benefit to doing this, to tying in with the world's most powerful AI, is that within this sheet, we can essentially do anything. We're going to step through some of the use cases for this. We can take any piece of data and manipulate that data. We can write any type of document. We can have it pass different emails and reduce our time spent. So it's really a productivity booster for us. I have a question down here, please. We've got a mic coming for you.
When you've got the script, you click on deploy and it asks whether you want a new deployment. Mm-hmm. And when I do that, it's asking me to select a deployment type, but it's not showing anything on that screen. Is that just... And I'm on my hotspot.
Okay, yeah, let's have a look.
Do you want me to come in? Don't deploy it?
You only have to save the script, don't you?
Save and then run, yep.
Yeah,
Save and... Where? Save and run. Run.
it's
Save and then run.
Floppy disk
Aha.
icon, save.
There we go.
Click save.
Done.
Awesome.
Thank you.
No worries.
No worries, guys. If you want to redo any of these steps, back at lifearchitect.ai/sheets, it will step you through each of the parts. Did we get our key pasted in here okay? No, we want to take our key from OpenAI, from our login. That is the right address. We just want to... Thanks. Oh, thank you. That's the one from step 5. Wow, that rate limit is powerful. It really doesn't want us in there. All right, let's keep going with this one, guys. This is the basics. So it can do things like seek through its knowledge. Remember, this thing has an IQ in the 99.9th percentile, and then find what the next most likely, most reasonable token should be. Consider this list of companies that I had for users of GPT-3. There were quite a number of them. There were thousands of them. We put together a list of them, and then maybe you might send an analyst or an intern or an assistant out to find out more about these companies, or you might even do it yourself. What about asking ChatGPT to go and do that? So for each of these companies that we have done by hand, ChatGPT can ask, what is the website for that particular company? By way of example, what is the estimated market cap? What's the head office for that company? And then just for fun, what's a corporate gift suggestion for that particular company? This is not like Excel data crunching. This is something different. Imagine having a room full of PhDs working 24/7 for you. That's the power of ChatGPT. And while you've got that power within the normal chat interface, within this Sheets interface, it enables you to do some extraordinary things. The formulas for each of these are shown on the right, but just by way of example, I'm saying website for Accenture is, and it's answering for us. If definitely unknown, return a dash only and then end, do not return any more output. As a guess and estimate using numbers only in billions of dollars, the estimated market cap for Accenture is. And it won't always know this, and it won't always be accurate. We can simplify this by saying, is this a gold, silver, or bronze company, which might help us select a gift? But we'll go through the room in a moment and find some examples that might be relevant to your business. The head office for Accenture is located in, show the city, country. And this last one that I've done for fun here, answer in a few words, an appropriate corporate gift for colleagues at Accenture is, and it's actually using quite a little bit of the office as an indicator here, so the location of the client, to give us an example of what might be a cool corporate gift to provide. You'll see more and more applications that are doing exactly this and maybe charging a few $100s a month. Right now, using ChatGPT, we're paying about a fraction of a cent, half a cent, I think, in Australian dollars, 0.2 cents US, to interact with it for 1,000 tokens or 750 words. Really, really economical. If you're generating something like 350,000 words, it's going to cost $1. So we can do a lot with this. We could populate this entire sheet for a few cents. Here's one that I use myself. The sender's first name is name only, no symbols. Based on the green columns there that you can see, there's a couple of emails that I've just pasted in. And then I want to query those emails in different ways. I want to clean it up. We actually couldn't do this with any tool. You couldn't do this via script because sometimes people just mention their company emails in companies in the email, or they put it in the footer, or it's in a completely different format. You could also do this to clean up addresses by way of example. All right, let's see how we go with this. Just dragging this cell up so that we can load this across different cells. It's all asking the same question to ChatGPT, which is built in to that example there. You can access it on the highlights. In the first one, I'm saying, what's the first name of the person in that email? And he's signed off, so it's pretty clear. And then what's the company name of the person in that email? Again, it's kind of clear in some of these emails. And then I tried to trick it, and ChatGPT was still pretty clever in translating what that might mean. Hi, Alan. We'd like to chat about how you can help us at Boeing, signed off by Reginald. First name, Reginald. Clean company name there, Boeing. We get a little bit trickier here. Al, someone told me you rock. It's Jim. I'm going to work. Verizon is busy, but got to do it. It got Jim, and then we didn't get a one-word response to the company name. We can ask it to try again. But it certainly got it right that the company's name is Verizon. We also tried to trick it by giving it multiple examples here. Thanks for your email. I don't like Target. I prefer Kmart. Costco is the biggest. Peter, head of sales, Walmart. Kind of makes sense, but we've thrown in a lot of different companies there to see if it would get the right answer. You can assume that it's pretty smart, but like you just heard from our Singaporean expert, always useful to triple check. Any questions so far? Let's jump out with an example from the room. What is something that you'd like to see ChatGPT pick up from a range of data? And we can also go out and grab some data if it's useful to you. Try and think outside normal data analytics. This is not something that is copying any feature that's ever been available, really. This is not something where you're using Excel to add numbers up, or even to go out to Wikipedia or the internet and check what the capital of a city is. That's just one of our basic examples. You saw that it can go and choose a corporate gift for a particular client. You've seen how smart it is to pass within an email and to generate the name, or to pick the name and to pick the company. What's something else that you might like to try? And we've got a couple of mics roaming around. While we're doing that here, I played around with company names, internal project names instead of company names. If you wanted to come up with a name for a project internally, you can sit down and brainstorm that. But what if we use ChatGPT to help us out here? Keywords on the left, and our prompt is saying, for the action, deliver mail, pick the most clever, funny secret project code name. In 1 or 2 words, the secret code name is project. Let's see what we can get for some of these. Buy a gift for partner, project love loot. Wash the dishes, project sudsterity. Take the rubbish out, project trash trekker. You'll see some other examples here. One cool thing about these AI models is that everything you get is pretty much unique. There's a couple of settings in there that will make it more or less deterministic or factual, but everything in there will change if we reloaded this page, which is kind of interesting. Let's see if we can reload this now. Just added the word new inside my prompt. So it's saying, for the new action, pick the most clever, funny secret name. Buy a gift for partner is now Love Ninja. Wash the dishes, project squeaky clean. Is there something you'd like to see ChatGPT play around with in data that's internal to your company, or just something you think would be a fun challenge to give ChatGPT given what's possible? Oh, this one first? Absolutely, thank you.
Hello. Hi. I was wondering, this might be too wild, but if you had like a list of suburbs that you're trying to target small business owners in, can ChatGPT search, I don't know, Google Maps something and find like a list of local businesses in the area and then their email address?
Absolutely, thank you. That's a great question. ChatGPT, because its data goes back to September 2021 and then stops, is not going to be entirely accurate for factual data. There are some ways or some cases where we'd use the database instead. So we'd perhaps use a database that would allow us to look up real, real addresses and real company names and real emails. But let's give it a go. To start with, I'm going to use the ChatGPT interface instead. Alphabetized. So we've just asked ChatGPT here, list of suburbs in Sydney, alphabetized. We're going to stop it around E. That seems good to me. You can talk to it in plain English here. Remove bullets. And then to paste them into sheets, I actually want one on each line. I could go and play around with that in a comma format, but I don't want to. One each on new line. Even with my bad syntax there, it was able to translate what I wanted. All right, thank you very much for your example here. Let's give it a go. List of Sydney suburbs with each one on a new line. Let's grab a new tab for ourselves here. Let's paste those in. Let's give us some color just for fun. Now I'm going to have to come back to you to ask what we're after first. Was this companies in a particular industry or field or something else?
Doesn't really matter. I'm marketing, so I'm trying to go out to small businesses and get them to do their marketing. So we could just choose an industry if you want, like healthcare.
Awesome. A business in healthcare in that particular suburb, is that right?
Yep.
Awesome, thank you. Because we've got an entire list of suburbs here, we'll just do one per suburb, but you could make this suburb specific. You could find multiple per suburb. I'm going to grab one of my existing, let's grab my first easy one. One of my existing formulas, and we'll just paste this in to B2 here. Let's see if we can have it figure this sentence out. A big, small business in that suburb in the healthcare field is. With data ending in 2021, it's going to give that one a go. Thank you for the correction there. I know there were people trying to help me. I was like, what? We're talking about A2, not B2. A big, small business in Alexandria in the healthcare field is, and my answer was a little bit too long for me, so to clean it up, I'm going to say using company name only. I'm going to drag this all the way down to our row 76 here. So it's looking for each of those suburbs and it's trying to fill in a healthcare client. Let's check the first two. MedStar Alexandria Hospital, does it actually exist? Sounds pretty good to me. Let's jump down to Auburn Health Solutions. Now, it may be that these guys don't exist. One thing that ChatGPT is very good at is hallucinating. And that is a technical term that these AI labs use in their papers. So much like your iPhone trying to predict the next most reasonable word, it's trying to fill in the next most reasonable word. And sometimes that's not a fact as much as it is a dream. So it may be in this particular instance that we want to use a database instead. We could keep going with this example. And see where we get to. The website for MedStar Alexandria Hospital is given that some of these are real and some of these are not real, it may even help you with its responses for the website query determine which has been hallucinated and which has not. Because we've got such a broad range of business experience using Excel for very specific functions, it can be a challenge to come up with something where having a team of PhDs would be useful. Consider that these language models are not Wikipedia. They're not looking up the web. In fact, they have no access to the web as large language models. We've got new plugins now where they can go and ping the web. Bing Chat is a good example of that. But consider them a frozen and pre-trained pack of PhDs sitting up in the boardroom without sleep and without needing to eat. Cool. Any queries on what we came up with there? Scrolling through, you'll see some of these exist. Some of them have real websites. We may even be able to filter on that. I don't think Zambia is going to be a good example for Beaconsfield mediclinic.co.za. Beverly Hills, Sydney, Cedars-Sinai. Maybe not. And you'll see some examples here that may need to be prompted to be in Australia. If it's only got the context of the suburb, it's guessing where we are. And we can easily fix that up by ensuring that it knows that we're in New South Wales. In Blakehurst, we've got a hallucination of Blakehurst Medical Centre, and even a website that does not exist. So for data, we may not be using the LLMs for what might need to be cleaned database access, even grabbing a catalogue. If we started off with a clean version of suburbs, which we did, but we also went and found businesses that exist and maybe exist up until today that may be more useful. Do we have another example that you'd like to step through using one of the most advanced artificial intelligences around, hooked up to Google Sheets?
Try again. I have a bit of a fun one back similar to the project name. Sorry. I have a fun one just similar to the project names, coming up with a fun job title for something that would be otherwise boring, like an accountant.
I love it. Thanks so much. The project names one I have used before, and the email filtering one I have used before, because you can't actually script that these days. Sorting addresses is a great way of playing around with this as well. But our example here, and I appreciate the example, was grab a list of boring business titles and ask ChatGPT to come up with some more fun business titles. So let's start in the chat.openai.com chat interface and just ask it for a list of standard business roles or business titles. Let's have them alphabetized again, one per line. And you can drill this down. You can ask it to be Australian-centric. You can ask it to be at board level. You can ask it to be at managerial level. This is actually a nice list. As a reminder, all these outputs are unique. It's not gone out to the internet, as we've mentioned, but even in its training data, it hasn't gone into the connections that it drew during its 1,000 years of training and just looked up an index on Wikipedia. During that training, it was making connections between words and concepts. So this list is new and unique. You might find that nothing like it exists even in Google. Here we go. Sheet 9, boring title, fun title. You may have heard a little bit about prompt engineering or prompt crafting, which is the idea of what you actually write to ChatGPT, what you put next, is an art form by itself. And in many ways, having an English literature degree is going to be more useful than having a computer science degree. And there's no right or wrong yet. It's still kind of a black art in terms of there's no prescriptive way of getting this out. Let's grab our formula from a little while ago. Let's paste that into here. So it's saying in the cell next to me, a fun version of this job title, or of the job title, is. We'll see if the word fun is good enough there. We might need to. Let's drag this down and let it load itself. Like I mentioned, this is very, very cheap. Just in what we've done so far, it's going to be a few cents. Accounts payable clerk, payment ninja, advertising manager, ad guru. Let's freeze our top row here. Business analyst, data detective. Our CEO becomes chief entertainment officer. I don't know about that one. Customer service rep, happiness hero. Got a few here that you might recognize. HR manager, people whisperer. IT, I'm pretty sure I've heard this at most businesses I've worked at. They're the tech wizard. There's an operations manager role where the fun title is chief chaos coordinator. A lot of ninjas that came out of this particular prompt. You could make this prompt as outrageous as you want. There will be some issues with getting through OpenAI's filters, but let's try this out. Just realized this is being recorded, so I don't know if I want to put... Let's try an outrageous and offensive version of the title. And because there are so many protections on this, let's see how we go with it. Even just using the keyword offensive, the best we get is Director of Chaos and Destruction. Thanks, Las Vegas. That's awesome. I will just mention here, if you want to know more about these models, and it actually is worth understanding, this is the new revolution, the artificial intelligence revolution. Some people are saying the agrarian, industrial, and information revolutions wouldn't even be a blip on the radar compared to what's being made possible right now. But in this visualization at lifearchitect.ai/ChatGPT, I just draw out the fact that they've put, let's call it human tuning there on the left with the humans above it to make sure that it's aligned with us. And then they're putting all these safety mechanisms on top to get to ChatGPT. They really didn't want any bad press, so you will have noticed that quite a bit in playing with it yourself. Let's see what we can get though. See what we can get that's a little bit better than a fun version. Have we got any suggestions that we can throw in here? Yeah. Cheeky and spicy version of the job title with swear words. He doesn't even want to swear. That's a great one. Okay, let's do sarcastic. Sarcastic version of the job title. Will it do swear words with that one for us? Yeah, we'll try Australian next. I love that one. It's actually surprisingly good at ochre. Accounts payable clerk, master of paying other people's bills. Yeah, let's do that. Let's do a brutally sarcastic version of the job title. We want to make this Australian as well. Yeah, Aussie slang. What was it? That's going to be rough. Using tradie Aussie slang. Number crunch and bean counter. Payables Sheila. These are great. Chieftain of the bloody finances, mate. Top dog Chippy. Oh, we did get some swear words in here. That's a pretty blue shortening there. Code Monkey, I've heard that one as well. Web wanker. Awesome. It takes a bit of time to get your head around the capabilities of having a team of PhDs working 24/7, 365 that are not just data analysts. But like you saw in the corporate gifts example, in this example, you could be playful with it and you can allow it to do jobs that you would have normally offloaded to a human rather than a computer. It really is very, very human-like. We're about an hour in already. I want to get on to some art next up, generating AI images, because this is the next frontier. We're going to be playing with a model that came out just a few days ago. With your permission, there's a couple of models we could choose from. It's called Midjourney version 5. I wanted to give you the opportunity, though, rather than being seated for 2 hours non-stop, to have a bit of a break. So we'll just have a short moment away, come back and jump into AI art. I appreciate your patience with our technical issues in 2023, which should kind of be solved by now, but I love that we still don't have printers that work or Bluetooth that connects. And thank you for the suggestion. So we'll be back in about 5 or 10 minutes. Thanks so much.